I've always believed that when a marriage ends, it doesn't happen in one explosive moment. There are no slam doors, no screaming matches, no shattered plates on the floor. Real endings come quietly, creeping in like a slow, unnoticed leak in a roof, until one day, the ceiling caves in. For 17 years, I was married to Rebecca. 17 years of shared secrets, inside jokes, lazy Sunday mornings, and soft kisses before bed. We weren't perfect, but I thought we were solid. I thought we had something worth fighting for. Turns out, I was the only one still fighting. It started with the little things. Missed calls, fewer shared meals, a distant look in her eyes I couldn't quite place. At first, I convinced myself it was work stress. Then, I thought maybe it was just a rough patch. Every couple goes through them, right? But then came the late-night phone calls. The way she'd smile at her screen, her face lighting up in a way I hadn't seen in years, before stepping out of the room to answer. I wasn't stupid. One evening, I came home earlier than usual. Something was different. The air smelled of expensive cologne, sharp, unfamiliar. On the coffee table sat 2 wine glasses, one bearing a faint lipstick stain, a deep red, a shade Rebecca never wore. I stood there, staring at the evidence, my pulse steady even as my mind raced. Moments later, she walked in, her hair slightly tousled, her cheeks flushed. That told me everything I needed to know. But what stunned me wasn't the betrayal itself. It was the look in her eyes. No guilt, no panic, just indifference. "Oh," she said, tilting her head, "you're home early. Should I have called first?" My voice was calm, measured. She smirked. Wouldn't have changed anything. I exhaled slowly. "Who is he? Does it matter?" I wanted to be angry, to demand answers, but then she said something that made my blood run cold. "He's moving in." No hesitation, no remorse, no divorce papers. Just leave. I studied her, searching for the woman I had once loved, the woman I had built a life with, but she wasn't there anymore. So I did exactly what she asked. I packed a single bag, took one last look at the house we built together, and walked out the door. No begging, no arguing, just silence, because some betrayals don't deserve words. That night, I checked into a hotel and lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, letting the weight of it all sink in. 17 years gone. And yet, there was no pain, no heartbreak, just clarity. Rebecca thought she knew me, thought I was just a dull husband in finance, the kind of man who would sulk in a hotel room for weeks, nursing his wounds. She had no idea who she had really been married to. By the next morning, she was about to find out. At precisely 7:15 a.m., her phone rang. She didn't answer the first time, or the second, but on the third ring, curiosity must have won over indifference. "Hello?" A calm, authoritative voice responded. "Ms. Langley, this is Special Agent Carter from the FBI. We need to speak with you regarding your husband." I imagine she rolled her eyes, already irritated at the inconvenience. Ex-husband, and I have nothing to say about him. A pause. Then, "You might want to reconsider that." Rebecca never really knew me. For 15 years, I had worked as an undercover intelligence operative. My job? Infiltrating organizations, tracking illegal operations, dismantling them from the inside. And the man she had so carelessly replaced me with? A high-profile arms dealer. She hadn't just cheated. She had walked straight into the jaws of a predator. The FBI had been watching him for months. The moment I walked out, alarms went off. In all her arrogance, Rebecca had unknowingly made herself an accomplice. I wasn't there when the agents showed up at her. No, their house. But I like to imagine the color draining from her face as realization hit. By the time she tried to call me, I was already gone. New name, new city, new life. Months later, a mutual friend reached out. Apparently, Rebecca had been interrogated for hours. They wanted to know how much she knew, how deep she was involved. She swore she had no idea, claimed she was just dating him. They didn't arrest her, but they froze accounts, seized assets. That comfortable life she thought she was stepping into, it crumbled in an instant Her boyfriend, the arms dealer, was taken into custody, and Rebecca, she was left with nothing. When my friend asked if I had known who he was, I just smiled. Of course I knew. I had spent years hunting men like him. The moment I saw those wine glasses, I recognized cologne, the name, the pattern. I knew exactly what was coming for her. Did I feel sorry for her? No, because some betrayals don't deserve second chances. And some people never really know who they married. A year later, I sat in a quiet cafe in another city, sipping my coffee, watching the world go by. A woman sat across from me, beautiful, kind eyes, a gentle smile. "Tell me something," she asked, tilting her head. "Have you ever been in love before?" I thought about Rebecca. About 17 years of memories, good and bad, about that last night in our home, when she had laughed and told me to just leave. And then I thought about who I had become since then. Smiling, I stirred my coffee. "Once," I said, "a long time ago." And with that, I let the past go. Betrayal is a strange thing. It doesn't just break your heart. It changes who you are. But sometimes, if you're lucky, it doesn't destroy you. It sets you free. And some people never realize what they lost until it's too late.